right, here we are. Season 2, Segment 2, we're live from BRAVEHAVEN Studios in Salt Lake City. Bob, Happy New Year to you, my friend. It's great to be in the studio. How are you?
It is great to finally be in the studio. I'm doing well. Thanks for asking.
Well, you know what? I feel like I'm nervous. It's like, you get built up for a season. It's just like coaching. So I guess we're like in a preseason game. We'll probably have a few little. It just won't be as smooth and as pretty and as sexy as what it was once we get into mid-season or All-Star break or get it into the playoffs. But wow, what a lot of growth we have for our second season of the Coach Scott Field Show. I am thrilled and excited. We've got some additions this year that I am pumped about. I want to go into some of that stuff, Bob. We've got team members this year with the Coach Scott Field Show. We have team leaders and sales associates that are out there soliciting sponsorship for the Coach Scott Field Show. So I really want to give a heartfelt thank you and welcome to Ryan and Ruben, who is on our local sales team here in Salt Lake City. Also want to thank Tracy and Travis with our national sales team. Welcome to the team. We're excited to have you aboard. We're not only are we local, we're national, and we are international. So to have them as a part of our team, it's just growth. So it's exciting for that. We got a lot of moving parts. Sometimes it gets a little crazy, but that's good. That's how we are. Also have a new thing that we're doing this year on the show. We have a show blogger. His name is T Money. T Money, thrilled to have you working. You're going to be reading tweets of his. If you follow us on Twitter and you use the hashtag, the old school people, that's the number sign. The new generation, it's, you've seen Jimmy Fallon and Justin Timberlake, hashtag. So if you hashtag Coach SF Show, your live interactions and tweets will go live onto our show. Bob's back there doing his magic on the boards, working the sound, working the lights. And Bob, we got a little locker room behind me here. We got some jerseys hanging. I like the set. You've done a great job, my man.
Yeah, it's there's nothing fancy about it. It's just there. But I do want to emphasize they do need to use that hashtag so that we can see their tweets and stuff to bring them up on the screen.
That's right.
So make sure you use that hashtag every chance you get.
What I want to promote, please follow the show at Scott Fields Show, and that's on Twitter at Scott Fields Show. You can follow me at Scott_Fields, but again, hashtag Coach SF Show. If you use the hashtag Coach SF Show, we will be able to read your live feeds right here on the Coach Scott Field Show as we got this thing going here for Season 2. With that, our guest tonight, wow, are we blessed and lucky to have such a sports industry icon. Pat Williams, who is the Senior VP and was co-founder of the Orlando Magic, is going to be our guest tonight starting at 8 o'clock Mountain Time, which is 10 o'clock Eastern. And I've got 3 copies of his book. They are autographed. And I don't know if Nick or Bob, we can kind of zoom in on this, but it's his book, Triumph. And it's the powerful stories of athletes of faith. And I'm super excited to be giving these away. As you can see, inside the cover, he's got it signed, and it says, all the best, Pat Williams in 2015. We are blessed to have Pat Williams come on our show tonight and let him share his journey, his insight. Through social media, we have been, promoting it hard just so you guys can kind of see how lucky we are to have such a wonderful, respected person in the sports industry to be our guest. During the second segment of our show, we're going to kind of have some interaction with our show blogger. T Money is going to come on. We're going to be talking to him live over the phone, talk about some of the pulse that's going on in the NBA right now, some games that are being played tonight in the league. As we're talking right now, here we are, 7:30. The Golden State Warriors are right here playing against our Utah Jazz. So Steph Curry, a guy that I got to work with the Golden State Warriors when I was with Keith Smart in the NBA Summer Leagues. Hey, to me, he's one of the top 4 players, top 5, top 3 arguably, in the NBA making a run for an MVP type season. The Golden State Warriors are playing great, so I'm sure there's some people out there at Energy Solutions cheering on our young Jazz, and that's going on. Cleveland is playing Phoenix tonight. San Antonio has the Washington Wizards. The Minnesota Timberwolves are going back home in my own stomping grounds in Indiana, going against those Indiana Pacers. Atlanta. And how about Atlanta? They are doing an outstanding job. Kyle Korver, a former Jazz guy, just sniping it. He's shooting it and playing well. Another former Jazz, Paul Millsap, who is putting up all-star numbers this year. So they're going against the 76ers. Got to be honest, one of our former guests, Coach Sean Rooks, is out there with the 76ers. They're struggling a little bit. They're young, kind of like our Jazz, so I'm sure Atlanta's probably doing a good job with them. Later starts tonight, Dallas will be playing Sacramento, and also the Miami Heat. My buddy Keith Smart is an assistant coach out there who was a former guest last year as well. Will be playing those LA Lakers. Man, them LA Lakers, that's a story in itself, huh, you guys? We got Kobe Bryant looking at some contract stuff. There's some conspiracy theories going on. LeBron with a hurt back, going down to Miami, for some treatments on his back. I didn't start it. I didn't say it. I'm just telling you what I've heard through the grapevine. Maybe he's kind of hanging on for a year. He and Kevin Love may go out to Los Angeles with the Lakers next year. Kobe really wants number 6 so he can tie Michael Jordan for the amount of rings. So all kind of fun stuff going on. The NBA landscape is just crazy. And let's be honest, Cleveland Cavaliers aren't playing to what the expectations, what everybody thought they were when the big 3 was coming. Kevin Love, and you got a great guard, and Uncle Drew out there with Kyrie Irving, who's a great, but they just haven't quite found their chemistry. David Blatt, a lot of stuff, being pointed. He's an international coach who I've got love and respect for. I've coached professionally, internationally, so I've got a soft spot in my heart for those guys that have coached internationally. David Blatt has had great success with the national teams over there in Europe. And then again, Quinn Snyder, he spent a short time over in the European leagues also. So a lot of neat stuff going on. Also exciting for the show here kind of through the off season. With this last week, we're around 25,000 hits on the Coach Scott Fields website. I know a lot of that is some of the fun that we had with our holiday promos, and got to kind of apologize for some of that. Sipping on my eggnog a little too long out there, but Nick and I had a lot of fun producing those and kind of gearing things up, promoting for the season 2 of the Coach Scott Fields show. Still having a lot of outside countries who are giving us hit and love and support, and we've seen some more of those countries kind of jumping on, and seeing us. Poll question for tonight, everybody. So if you use the hashtag Coach SF Show, the poll question for tonight was, I kind of wanted to hear it. We had some stuff on Facebook that's come in earlier, and there's been some quality content being shared on that leadership question. Kind of wanted to talk about leadership since Pat Williams of the Orlando Magic, who's coming on, great motivational speaker. And he's also one of the top authors on leadership. I think he has, I want to say, over 60 books, 70 books on leadership. And so I'm curious, sound off, when as you're watching the show tonight, at hashtag Coach SF Show, what characteristic is the most important in a leader and leadership? And talking about leader and leadership, let's talk about that national championship game last night, Oregon and Ohio State. I'm a coach, so of course I'm looking at Ohio State's coach, Urban Meyer, who spent some time up here at the University of Utah. What a leader. I'm telling you what, he leads with his heart. He cares. He's energetic. And you think about it, it's the same thing that happened in the NFL, Carol, with the Seattle Seahawks. They win a national championship. There's something about that energy and that youthful energy and that leadership and that charisma. I think Coach Urban Meyer did a masterful job in preparing the Ohio State Buckeyes, who, when you read all the papers out here, everything's Pac-12 and how strong the Oregon Ducks are. Wow, what a job. Congratulations, Urban Meyer, coach out there with the Buckeyes of Ohio State, representing that Big Ten where I grew up, out there in the Midwest. So,
there you go.
Hey, congratulations, Urban Meyer. I think you exemplify everything that a leader is and should be. You lead, you inspire, you direct, you gave the guys roles. They knew, they had their mission. I heard you already talking about, there's a mission statement coming out for the next, season coming up. They got some stuff going on. So a lot of exciting things going on tonight. Really want to thank you for welcoming us into your show tonight, whether you're watching it on your laptop, if you're looking at it on your iPad, if you're pulling that stuff up on your phone. Thank you so much for having us in your homes tonight here on Season 2. Again, thank you to our team who's out there working really, really hard to bring even a more quality product to you than what we had last year. We're on a shoestring budget. I mean, Bob puts this whole set together on a just...
hope and a prayer.
Hey, but you know what? I am so blessed to have you guys in the studio with me. And here's something else that's exciting. I got to share this with you. Nick is in the studio with us this year, and he is producing this. So his job, just so you guys know, is to give me a technical foul if I'm running over on my monologue. He's going to tee me up, blow the whistle, and he's going to be like, Coach, cut that stuff off. So, Nick, thank you. It's great to have you, and he's going to keep me online because last year, let's be honest, we had them 3-hour marathons.
Oh, man.
We were like, it was quality content, but man, we're not the DP show yet. Dan Patrick's got something going on. They got all these people working for him. It was just you and I last year, Bob, just on a vision and a mission. I say it like this. It's God-guided, it's faith-driven, and it's a coach's perspective. So it's the Coach Scott Field Show. We're going to be coming back to you with segment 2 with T-Money, our show blogger, kind of feeding and reading the pulse. And he's got a great thing that he read or posted on Facebook about leadership, and I'm going to let him share that with you. So that'll be our second segment coming up. Again, follow us at Coach Scott Fields. Coach SF Show, hashtag Coach SF Show. Follow us at Scott Field Show on Twitter. So we look forward to seeing your tweets live. Pat, tell our viewers, nationally and internationally, who is Pat Williams and where does all this passion come from, my friend?
Well, I would describe myself as a sports executive. I've spent over 50 years administrating or running professional baseball and basketball teams. I'm in my mid-70s. In addition to the basketball world, I do speak around America and beyond in the area of leadership and teamwork and winning. I do 3 radio shows in Orlando each week.
Wow.
So I have an interest in broadcasting. I'm the father of 19 children, 14 of them adopted from 4 foreign countries, and the grandfather of 14 grandkids.
Wow.
So my life has been full and remains full.
Yes, it is. And again, being in that executive level where you've been in the sports industry, seeing how you do it and watching your leadership style. Co-founding the Orlando Magic out there in Orlando, being able to draft, Shaquille O'Neal, having Penny Hardaway, making a run at that NBA Finals. What a masterful job you've done with that franchise. You've got a young team now that is developing, and Coach Jacques Vaughn is doing an outstanding job out there. It's fun to watch from afar, Pat, the job that you do and the thumbprint that you leave on everything that you touch, my friend.
Well, I appreciate it, Scott. We do have a nice young nucleus. We struggle sometimes to get wins, and at the end of the day in this profession, that's how everybody's measured.
Yeah.
We had a good win last night on the road in Chicago.
Yes, you did.
Hopefully we can continue that. We're home for a while, However, coming in, our next 3 home games are Houston, Memphis, and Oklahoma City. So it doesn't get a whole lot easier.
That's right. But you know what? You've got a good young core. Your coach is doing a great job of developing the talent. And, they're fun to watch. Victor Oladipo, I know you did some schooling up at Indiana University. Victor Oladipo came down there onto your club and has brought a lot of energy and does some good things. And he's exciting to watch. It's a shame that out here in the West, that in that market, we don't get to see him that often. But you've got an exciting little core there, and your franchise is moving in the right direction once again.
I appreciate it, Scott. Yeah, we like Oladipo. He's a hardworking guy, very aggressive, has some tools, some good physical skills, and in his second year now, he's definitely made strides from last year. And as he continues to learn the NBA game and mature, I think his upside is very high.
Oh, yeah, his ceiling is up there, let's be honest. Another thing that I like that Orlando has done, you have an NBA D-League team for development. I mean, developing coaches, you're developing players, you're developing future front office people. They're with the Erie Bayhawks, and I think that's exciting, and it's kind of emulated that baseball model for years, and it's nice to see the NBA kind of go in that direction. What are your thoughts and feelings on that, Pat?
Well, I think it's happening more and more where NBA teams will isolate and pick one city in the development league and then use it as a teaching outlet for coaches and assistant coaches and some young players as well. So I think it has a role. I don't think it'll ever be like baseball, but I think it definitely can serve a purpose. And as far as the league is concerned, they've got referees training down there and young executives and so forth. So I think it has value for the whole profession of pro basketball, of NBA basketball.
Oh, I agree 100%, Pat. I own many of your books in my library. I feel like, as a young coach myself coming up through the ranks, again, I've been blessed to, coach a little bit. Jerry Sloan allowed me to come out here and observe when I was between head coaching jobs overseas, and I'd done some stuff with the Golden State Warriors and the Sacramento Kings. I love the books you write on leadership. And again, your publicist, Andrew, sent out the book Triumph here that we have, that we're giving away on the show. The book, How to Be Like Mike, outstanding content. I loved it. And several years ago, you wrote that book, Going for Magic, or Making Magic. I've got that book also in my library. Pat, what was the inspiration, on writing the books and being the author that you are, talking on leadership and things?
Everything rises and falls on leadership. It always has, and it always will, and it's always going to be a topic in this country of intense interest.
Sure. And
discussion and controversy. But I think we have to be alert that the future of America hinges on our leadership potential. And so I think we have a big job of getting that next generation of leaders ready. So in my speaking and lecturing and writing, I focus hard on what we can learn from other great leaders, what lessons we can take, whether it's a Bear Bryant or a John Wooden or an Abraham Lincoln. So I think it's important to study great leaders of the past, and more importantly, how do we take their leadership strengths and apply them to our own lives now?
Yeah.
I think that's an important task as well. So it's an important topic. It's a hot topic. The books are pouring out on leadership and seminars and retreats and conferences. It's amazing to me just what a big industry leadership has become in our nation.
Yes, it has. And I'm going to tell you what, your finger is on the pulse. And I'm not just saying this because you're on the show, but you're making this show that much better just for you taking the time from your busy schedule to bless us, with being on the show. I know you're faith-driven. It's interesting. I see you and I, we share a lot of the same characteristics and qualities. My family, we added a young man into our lives that has totally changed our lives. We got him to a scholarship in basketball out here, and it's been one of the best decisions that we've made. And I know you've adopted multiple children into your family. What a blessing that is in itself. But I love the fact that you're faith-driven. Can you speak on that a little bit, Pat?
Well, I became a Christian at age 27, and so I've been walking with the Lord now for, many decades. It's made a huge difference in my life. I don't think God ever promised us an easy time, but I think when we come to know Christ and have Him in our life through His Spirit, it makes all the difference in the world. I think you have you have the ability to live up on top of your circumstances. You're not buried underneath all the time by the extremes of this day or that. You have a peace in your life, and you have a purpose. And so I discovered that purpose years back, that I really felt the Lord wanted me in the sports business. There's an enormous platform and a sphere of influence in the sports world in our nation, and so for that reason, I think God wanted me in this business, and that's what I've been doing since I was 22 years old and got out of college. I spent the first 7 years of my life in the Philadelphia Phillies system in baseball, and then 47 years ago this summer, I left baseball and picked up with the 76ers, and I've been operating NBA teams ever since. So if you do the math on that, I think it comes out to almost 55 years or something like that. So
wow.
I don't even count. I just keep going.
There you go. Well, something else that, and please, I don't want to misrepresent. You're also a cancer survivor. Is that correct?
I was diagnosed 4 years ago this month with multiple myeloma.
Yeah.
I'd never heard of it, but my doctor explained to me that it's cancer. One of the blood cancers, I guess in that leukemia, lymphoma world. Uh-huh. Multiple myeloma is not quite as publicized, but it's still every bit as deadly. So for these 4 years, I have been doing all the medical steps and taking all the chemo. And the good news is the doctors are very pleased where I am. They don't see any signs of the myeloma in my bloodstream, and I feel good. I'm able to keep my full schedule. And I'm grateful for that. And so the Lord has been very good to me. Well, and I appreciate the prayers of so many people.
Oh, you bet. I mean, it's your drive and your passion, and obviously that faith-driven spirit that you have, helps lead. But it inspires so many people, even like myself from afar. I kind of went through a traumatic time that ended my basketball career that got me into coaching. So I went from a player to a coach right away. And like you, I started in the business very, very young. I was a full-time college coach at the age of 19 as I completed my undergraduate degree. And then, I do believe that the good Lord uses us, as vehicles, and He has a mission for all of us. And speaking of that mission, you even wrote a book on that, correct?
Yes, I wrote a book that came out the middle of last year called The Mission is Remission, and I share my cancer story, and I wrote it hopefully to be helpful and encouraging to other people who are dealing with cancer issues, not just multiple myeloma.
Yeah.
I write about my shock and disbelief when it was told to me, and all the steps that I've taken and so forth. So I let's put it this way. I wish there was a book just like that, 4 years ago.
Yeah.
When I was diagnosed. But I hope that this book will really be helpful and be a blessing to many, many people in our country who are dealing with cancer.
You bet.
1 out of 2 men in our society will end up dealing with cancer at some point. 1 out of 3 women.
Oh.
So I guess my message is, get ready for your cancer battle, because it could very well happen.
Hey, amen. And I love the fact that you had the foresight to write. Again, as a lot of people know in our sports industry, we just lost Stuart Scott, the Sports Center gentleman who was, going through his battle and had an eloquent speech, there on ESPN. But I just think it's amazing the things that you're doing and the things that you continue to do, Pat. And that's why I'm just so thrilled to have you on our show. And, I want people to know that, they can find your books on your website, which is patwilliams.com. And, there's a lot of books with just a wealth of content and insight and information. So I encourage our viewers locally, nationally, and internationally to go on his website, patwilliams.com. Pick up these books. If you have an opportunity to hear this wonderful spirit speak, please take advantage of that opportunity. I mean, he's passionate. It's from the heart. And I have a lot of respect and admiration for you, Pat, and I really appreciate you being on the show. Do you have anything? We have a poll question tonight on our show, and we're talking about what characteristic is the most important in a leader. I mean, I know it's a continual thing, but what do you feel, Pat, is the most important ingredient in
Well, if you pin me down to one, Scott, I would have to say it's vision.
Oh.
A visionary leader sees before others. A visionary leader sees down the road before others, sees farther than others, sees in a wider scope than others.
Yeah.
And as Ronald Reagan said, to grasp and hold a vision is the very essence of successful leadership. As the Bible says, without a vision, the people perish. And so it's up to a leader really to paint that vision for people, to get them excited about where you're headed. And if a leader doesn't know where they're going, well, guess what? Nobody's going to follow them.
Oh, isn't that the truth?
And so I think vision really is the trigger point for leadership. That's my view.
Yeah. Well, Pat, thank you so much for sharing that insight. We're blessed in this profession and in this industry that we get to come in contact with some amazing, wonderful people. I mean, when you were with Philadelphia, I believe you had Charles Barkley out there with you. Then with the Orlando Magic, you had Shaquille O'Neal, Penny Hardaway. Talk about some of those individuals that you've met along your journey, both baseball and basketball, that were influential or inspired you, and talk about some of the characteristics of those individuals as they are different types of leaders, within their personalities.
Interesting you asked that, Scott. I've got a brand new book. It's just coming out in the next couple of weeks. It's called "It's Not Who You Know, It's Who You Are."
I got to get a copy of that. Yeah, I saw that.
And
on the
I
website.
share I don't know, maybe 125, 130 stories of different interesting people that I have encountered in these 50-plus years in sports.
Wow.
And it gives an insight perhaps on a Michael Jordan or a Gayle King.
Okay, yeah.
Or a Dan Rather or a Henry Aaron, how could you put a price tag on it? But these little stories that have come my way in all these decades. So anyway, that book is out. Ravel is the publisher. It's in bookstores very soon now. And I would agree with you that the beauty of sports really, to me, are the fascinating people who are in the business, athletes and coaches and executives and media people. I would say like no other profession.
Yeah,
the interesting, fascinating people in pro sports.
You bet.
So I wouldn't trade that for anything.
I love that you mentioned that book, because when I was kind of surfing through your website and I was looking at your videos and the testimonials, I highlighted that book because I'm like, that's got to go in my library, because I feel like we as leaders and we as coaches and we or any individual in any walk of life, whenever you can take a second to empower yourself, educate yourself, and grow, which is the three themes of our show, to take advantage and draw from that knowledge and that wisdom and experience, it only makes us better individuals, both personally and professionally. So I definitely am going to go out and get that book for my library. And I think it's amazing, Pat, that you do what you do, the experiences that you share, the leadership talks that you have. The books are just phenomenal, and I continue to fill my library with your books. And again, I'm not saying that because you're on the show. I'm saying it because I believe in it. And part of our show out here from BRAVEHAVEN Studios, since I was between coaching jobs, we wanted to empower coaches. We want to empower players and teach them and educate them and help them grow for their next step in their journey. And just to have you on this show, Pat, you're taking us to another level, and I appreciate you. We're about to have a break. But is there any last words that you would like to share with us tonight before we go off to that
Scott,
break?
thanks for inviting me. I wish you all the very best, and lead on, everybody. Keep reading and keep leading, and above all, keep achieving. And I appreciate the call tonight, Scott, very much. Thanks so much.
Well, hey, good luck to you. God bless you, and continued success for you and your journey as well.
Take care now. Bye-bye.
You bet. Wow, guys, was that a great piece and segment from Pat Williams?
Yeah, awesome. 14 kids, right?
14 were adopted. Wow. Yeah, he's got 19 kids, but 14 were adopted from 4 different countries.
That alone speaks volumes about the kind of individual that Pat is.
That's right.
And what a great thing it is to have him for those few minutes on our show tonight. Wow.
Yeah. Well, I know we're getting ready to go off to a break, and before we do that, I just want to talk about the book again that his publicist Andrew sent out here to us on the Coach Scott Field Show. The book is called Triumph. These are all autographed copies from Mr. Pat Williams, who you just heard live here on our show tonight. It's powerful stories of athletes of faith. And again, it's written by Mr. Pat Williams. They are autographed, and I'm eager to hear from you. So when you use that hashtag, Coach SF Show, talk about leadership, talk about how it's inspired you, and you could be getting one of these books in the mail from us, from our dear guest and friend, Pat Williams of the Orlando Magic, who has an amazing story of faith and leadership to share with all of us, and we're blessed to have him. So we're getting ready to go off to break, and we're going to come back from this break, and we will wrap up on our final segment of the Coach Scott Field Show here tonight. So we will see you here after we pay a few words with our sponsors here. We're back.
We are back.
Yeah, man, I'm sitting here just thrilled because of the content and the insight that Pat just shared with us. I mean, what an amazing individual in our industry, and we're so lucky to have him tonight. I mean, let me ask you this: what did you take from that interview, Bob?
Well, the thing that I'm amazed at is here is a guy that is busy in so many things, and what a privilege it was that he took that 20, 25 minutes to be with us on our little show here and just give the message of the show: empower, educate, and grow. I mean,
right.
There's just another amazing example of
Wow.
of what we're trying to show.
Well, I just think, the message and the fact, think about it, for 4 years now, he's been dealing with a form of cancer, and he maintains his executive position with the Orlando Magic. He maintains his speaking schedule. He continues to write books to continue. Like he said, he's trying to build leaders of the next generation.
Right.
And how can you not respect the passion and foresight of a man who sees that in society we need leaders? I mean, let's be honest. We can see it around us every day, Bob. Whether it's in a gym or in work or from our bosses, from supervisors, so many people in different walks of life, that leadership is so vital, because you've got to be able to guide and lead and direct people who follow you, or that whatever you're trying to do with your business. And the fact that he does that is just, it gives me chills. And gosh, we're just so lucky to have Pat, because it's already super late in his time on the East Coast. And of course, they're preparing for another, basketball game. And you heard him say he's also, he does his own broadcasting of his own show. But,
wow.
Please check him out, patwilliams.com. Look at some of these books, support these books, buy them. And again, we on the Coach Scott Fields Show are going to be looking at your tweets. And when you use that hashtag CoachSFShow, we as a show will contact you via Twitter to send you a copy of this autographed copy of a book. And again, in this book here alone, he's got stories from Tony Dungy. He's got stories with Mickey Mantle, Kurt Warner, Nancy Lieberman, David the Admiral Robinson, Kathy Yao, and many more. So what a great gift that the Coach Scott Fields Show is going to send to you on behalf and out of the kindness of Pat Williams' heart, that they send to us so we can send these out to, again, help you with everything that this show stands for: empower, educate, grow. And this is your chance to empower yourself. So get on that Twitter if you haven't during the show at hashtag Coach SF Show. Send us your tweets on leadership, or what you learned, or a perspective, or a nugget that you took from Mr. Pat Williams, and we will have this book in the mail to you. We will reach out to you and contact you. And then for the next couple of shows, we're going to continue to give these books away. So please, get those tweets into us. We love the fact that we have interaction. But again, to have those tweets, you have to follow the show at Scott Fields Show. So please, on Twitter, at Scott Fields Show, follow the show. You can follow me at Scott_Fields, and that hashtag Coach SF Show. Send in your tweets on leadership or what nugget you took tonight from Mr. Pat Williams, and that book, Triumph, is going to be on its way to you. Some of these NBA games tonight, a couple scores that are going on. Minnesota has beaten Indiana 110-101, and my producer put a nugget in my ear. I think Mo Williams scored 52 against the Pacers tonight. Lit you up. So, Mo was on fire. The Atlanta Hawks, of course, have beaten the 76ers 105-87. We've got some scores and games that are still going on. The Golden State Warriors are beating the Utah Jazz 73-61. So that's some scores that are going on within the NBA right now. Again, we've got the Dallas Mavericks are beating the Sacramento Kings 26-23. And a later start tonight, the Miami Heat are going against the LA Lakers. Just want to give you those NBA scores as they're happening live right here on the show. Leadership. I just think about leadership and the poll question tonight. We did have some quality content. Thank you for sharing your post on Facebook, on Instagram, on the Twitter, LinkedIn. There's a lot of social devices out there, and we're using those. Stay tuned for our guest next week. We're going to release that real quick. Talking to an NBA player who has committed to being on our show, who again has a fabulous journey to share with us here on the Coach Scott Fields Show. We'll also put out a poll question early, so that way we can have a lot of thread and a lot of content to share with you, because this is your show. Super thrilled. Again, I can't thank BRAVEHAVEN Studios, Bob and Nick, for this great set and the time that we're having here tonight. I guess I just want to leave one quick thought with you. You always hear, take lemons and make lemonade. I guess, Pat talked about you need vision. I'm the kind of guy, I want to have lemonade franchises. So think big, have vision, lead, guide, direct, continue to grow. And thank you so much for allowing the Coach Scott Fields Show into your home tonight from BRAVEHAVEN Studios. We will see you next Tuesday night at 7:30 right here, CoachScottFields.com. God bless, stay safe, continue to grow. We'll see you next week.